Hello and welcome to another episode of Fresh Natural Live. I hope your Monday's gone well. My was busy as usual. However, it was a beautiful day here in Houston, Texas. And as usual, we have a great show for you tonight. We are pushing on the theme of optimal health at Montgomery Heart and Wellness, and we're getting started and getting people in our optimal health community. And so, as you know, we promote optimal nutrition. We promote a plant-based diet, but we also promote other optimal health practices. And exercise is one of those major areas of optimal health. And I'm sure many of you are out there working out. Many of you may have made New Year's resolutions to get in better shape. Oftentimes people get started with the best intentions. However, unfortunately, those best intentions lose out to a busy lifestyle or other obligations. However, I think there's some simple tips, simple insights that we can all gain in terms of staying on top of our health and staying on top of our fitness level. And so we decided to invite a fitness guru, Jada Smith, to give us some insights tonight on not only how to, get fit, but how to stay fit. And the name of her business is Get Fit to Stay Fit. So it's very, very appropriate. So I think you're going to get a lot of insight tonight. We're going to talk about fitness in general. We're going to go through some key fitness exercise that I think is going to be very beneficial to you. So hang on. We have a great show tonight. Hello again. So again, as I said, we have a great show tonight. We'll be talking about fitness, and I brought on someone who I've known for quite some time, Jada Smith. She actually is my fitness personal trainer, and she's worked with me for years, and also some of our clients at Montgomery Heart and Wellness. She's well versed in the area of fitness. She has a background not only in fitness, but boxing and dancing and athletics. So she's very well rounded. So we're going to get a lot of insight from her and how to not only get fit, but also stay fit. Before I bring on Jada, I want to bring on my colleague and friend, Dr. Pamela Atkins. Dr. Pamela Atkins, how are you today?
Hi, good evening. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. I forgot to say that. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. My goodness, I didn't, say Happy Valentine's Day. So I guess my mind is so much on fitness and work, I don't remember that. Wish people happy Valentine's Day. And some people in the chat say happy Valentine's. Catherine Welch, JW, happy Valentine's Day. Andrew Lavely, Deborah Payne, Ronald Prescott, happy Valentine's Day. Hello, Ann and Nicole Boone and everyone else, happy Valentine's Day. And I hope your Valentine's Day is very sweet. Sweet in the romantic way, but not sweet in the processed sugar way. How about that? But anyway, Robert Humber, happy Valentine's. So anyway, without further ado, I want to bring Jada Smith on. As I said, Jada Smith has worked with me for a number of years and also a client of ours. And so she is a certified fitness trainer. She has a background in boxing, personal background in track and field, also entertaining and dance. So she is well-rounded in areas of fitness and athletics. So without further ado, Jada, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hello, everyone. I am in the car, but I am not driving. Happy Love Day. Happy Love Day.
All right. We, and just as a footnote, Jada and I got on and tested. So, she's in the area where there's some in and out. So if she knows when she loses us or we lose her, she'll go out and come back in. So we're going to work through the technical difficulties of this show. But Jada, what I want to do is open up our discussion with, fitness in general. And first and foremost, this whole idea of getting in shape, and everybody has a different idea. You look at a lot of these YouTube channels and what have you, and you got these buff people and so on. What are some fundamentals that all of us need to take home first and foremost in terms of getting in shape? What are the important things that we need to do? Let's say, and I'm going to start with the very beginner level, and maybe somebody who's, somewhat sickly and they may have arthritis or whatever, to the person who's not so sick, but kind of sedentary and out of shape. Let's start with that category. And what should that category of people do? What should be the mindset, a start point there? And then we'll kind of go through the different levels there. So let's start with the beginner level. Beginner with some people who are not as mobile, a little bit on the sickly side.
Well, the most important muscle in the body, which is the heart. So anyone starting to exercise, you want to know your resting heart rate and your heart rate. So what's, where your resting heart rate as soon as you wake up to check your heart rate to see where it's at. When you're active and moving around to see where your heart rate rate's got. So the first thing I would suggest to know your resting heart rate.
So basically, and you cut off a little bit, but I heard you, I can read lips too. But so basically, resting heart rate, and then when you get up and move around, see what that heart rate goes up to. So that gives you an idea of what your functional status is. And I think that's an excellent point, because that lets you know what your condition level is, and how out of breath you may get when you get up and move around, and so that gives you a starting point. And so from that point, so let's say your resting heart rate is kind of in the normal range, and it's not too out of whack. I suspect people on the sickly side will probably check with their physicians and get information in that regard. But let's say they've gotten clearance from their physician, and they start to do those things. What are some of the simple things they do? You get them walking, or they, simple things, chair exercises, or things they can do in the house?
Yes, the basic simple things. It's just walking, stepping, making sure that your step, balance, making sure that you can balance out. Standing on one leg, trying to balance, and then with the strength, if you're able to stand and sit without touching anything, that's very important. If you can stand up and sit down without using anything, shows the strength in your legs.
Okay, so standing and sitting without pushing yourself up is in addition to walking, is a good starting part, because that, I guess, that tells you what your hip girdle is strong, or
well, it tells you that your quads are strong and your joints. So when you stand, you use all of your joints. You use your knees, ankles, hips, and all of that when you stand. So once you're standing, if you're having pain or problems, you'll see it. I mean, you'll feel it. But if you're able to stand and sit without any pain and problems, there's a ultimate, you're going better at nutrition. I mean, better with health wise.
Wow. So I mean, it's kind of funny, because and as I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking, it's very fundamental. Walking, sitting, and standing are the basic places where you want to start, because that tells you that, hey, these areas that you need work, are they okay, and then I can go to the next level. So
and also one more thing I want to add, Dr. Montgomery, before we go on, posture. So posture. So if you're able to stand up and stand up straight, shoulders back, down and relaxed. Your head, how it's aligned, how your back is aligned, if you're rounded out, or that's very important. If you're able to lift without having pain or problems, that's very important. Posture also.
So they should have people take pictures of them while they're sitting, just to get some idea what their posture is.
Yes, and most of them should be able to evaluate themselves. They know when they're rolling or slumping over. When you're sitting in your car, sitting at your table, if you're sitting up straight and neck down, some people don't even know what correct posture is also. So yeah, you can check with their physician or someone near that can help them out with that.
Yeah, I'm changing my posture as I listen to you talk. I want to invite Dr. Celeste Palmer onto the show. Dr. Palmer, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is saving lives in the pediatric world, and so we're into exercise. Now and we're talking about the very basics of exercise and fitness, and we're starting from ground level up. People who are out of shape, people who are sickly, And just to review everyone, it's interesting that Jada is saying that just walking, sitting, and standing are a key place where you start, because if you can't stand correctly without the help of your arms, if you get out of breath with walking, or have pain with walking, or if you have a bad posture, these are areas where you want to start in terms of fitness, because that's kind of your basics of how you sit, stand, and walk. And unfortunately, many of us can't sit, stand, and walk adequately because we're so out of shape. So that's very interesting in terms of how you start there. So let's go to the next level in terms of fitness. So let's say you can stand properly. You're not quite in that group, but you're somebody that you've started exercising, but you're kind of back and forth, and maybe you hadn't exercised in months or years. I know there are times you've gone out with me where I've gone like 12 months and I've been off, and it's like, okay, Jada, this is gonna be painful. How does one in that situation get started? So let's say someone, they're active, they can walk, they can do their activities of daily living, but they want to really get in shape. They want to get, the muscles toned. They want to get cardiovascular fitness. Can you just sort of help us out with the basic areas of fitness? I think about 4 or 5 areas that people need to think about in terms of getting their body in shape.
Okay, well, the most important is mindset. That's jumping out this window, but the mindset of it. What's your goals? So where are you setting? Are you just want to be fit for the summer? You get people say, "Oh, I just want to lose this. Oh, I just want to tighten up my arms." It's like, what are your goals? That's the most thing you have to set. What are your goals? And then coming at a beginning level, you just want to start with the basic functional exercises. Can you do a push-up? Can you do a squat? Can you do a sit-up? So you start with those 3 basic things, and then you start developing 10 here, maybe 20 there, and you do more and more. And form is so important. People, they start doing squats and they're just doing it. They're going, and they're not even holding the muscle contraction. They're letting loose every time they stand up. Their legs are tightening out. And there's so many different aspects of fitness that you have to know the form wise. So form is another important thing. So you can be doing a push up and then you'll be pushing up your chin. Like I tell you all the time, line it up with your chest, What are you doing? You're killing your shoulder joints. So it's very important to know what you're doing form-wise, your goals, where you're setting your goals to, and then your activity level. Some people are high active. They're very, very active. And then some people are lower active. So it takes time for them to get into the activity level. And you want to start where you are. Don't go jumping in the gym and running at a 6 and, oh, I'm going to fitness, because you will drain yourself out. Okay. Start at a walk, light pace, go into 10 push-ups, 10 squats, 10 sit-ups, just the basic areas of the body.
Gotcha. So fewer reps, better form is the ideal way to start. And you go there. So basically, you mentioned push-ups, sit-ups, and squats. Those things get your basic strength, endurance, upper body, your lower extremities. Now, how about the cardiovascular stuff? What do you recommend for cardiovascular and flexibility?
Well, at least 30 minutes a day of cardio activity, if it's even just walking through your neighborhood, turning on your favorite music and dancing to it. And I advise everyone to stretch 3 times a day. In the morning, in the afternoon, and before you go to bed. And that's a full body stretch. Most people, when they wake up in the morning, they do it. The body forces you to do it. Okay. And in the afternoon, you're just sitting and grounding. Everything's just all tightened up. And you're like, wait a minute, breathe. I advise you to do it in that time. At night, before you go to bed, wind down, stretch like some people, when you take your arms straight up, if you can't stretch your arms straight up without having a bend over or pain, the more you do it, the better you come. The more you do it, the better you get. The more you stretch, the better it gets. So if you're like, oh, I can't touch my toes, it's like you can't do it now, but the more you stretch it, the elasticity, that word, in your joints will help you get looser and looser. How to say that word? Elasticity.
Yep. Flexibility is key. That, it makes a difference. I notice when I'm stretched out more. It's I feel much better doing the reps and all. So strong, flexible muscles are the key. And I imagine they prevent injury. A lot of the older patients we deal with falls. And so, flexibility, strength in the core areas and all that stuff is some of the areas that they suffer from. And so those are some of the areas. So now let's say you're getting ready to work out and you hire a trainer, or maybe you don't hire a trainer. Frequency, the big question I get is frequency. You may have lost Jada for a minute there. She will be back, but I'll throw this out to the panel. The Surgeon General says, I think, 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week. There are other recommendations of other frequency. What is y'all's take on frequency of workouts while we wait to Jada to come back?
Okay, well, I'll start. I think it's important to just stay moving, and movement is important. And so I don't like to say, well, 2 days or 3 days, and then the other days you can be sedentary, but do things, do some type of movement. Everybody may not be able to walk up a staircase in their building, etc. That may be too challenging for some people or have knee problems, but there are other things we can do, like walk to your mailbox or have a goal, or walk to the tree in front and back, for seniors. And maybe eventually you can walk a little further as you get accustomed to walking. Or if the weather is not good, the weather's cold or rainy or icy, perhaps if you have a place to walk inside of your house, maybe down the hallway and back. A lot of people during quarantine were walking in their house. Some of our homes are not very large, but sometimes walking back and forth, and sometimes we register our steps. But I mean, movement is important. If you have a stationary bike, that is option. If you can't go outside, everybody doesn't have to have an expensive treadmill or expensive equipment. But I think movement is very important, and I think she said great things about, things like squats. I think it's really important because that helps us, get in and out of the chair, get up from a chair. And a lot of times as seniors get older, those proximal muscles, as she said, the quads get weak. But you can hold on to a chair, a wall, or a bar, and to, stand up and sit down if it's, if you need support. But to exercise those muscles. I think, even, in United States, we tend to bathrooms. We want the toilet to be higher as we get older. But what's more physiological for us is to be more in a squatting position to go to the bathroom. And in other countries that, it's lower, you may have to squat more, or, some countries may just have footprints, we're in a hole or something, but in public facilities. But it is good to keep those muscles engaged. And I think we just kind of get accustomed to not using them. And I think it's a wonderful thing she said about posture. A lot of us forget about posture. And I think so many people are working at computers and working at a desk, and so get accustomed to arching over and getting that C posture in our spine, in our thoracic spine and the cervical spine going forward. And many times it spills over to our standing posture. I mean, we're so accustomed to that. If we spend, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours at a desk or at a computer, our posture, suffers. So I think it's really important to, as she said about posture, to square our shoulders and try to push back if we're in a chair, or if we need to have a pillow in the middle of our back to remind us to push our shoulders back. I mean, I think posture is very important, so we don't have that improper posture bent over and our spine gets accustomed to being arched.
Wow. That's awesome. Jada's back with us. As I said, we've been having some technical with it. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you okay.
Okay, good deal. So perfect. Yeah, if you lose it, just go out and come back in. So Dr. Atkins was sharing with us the importance of posture, and of course, walking in your home and things like that. Making do with what you're able to do. And so she did a great follow up on your comments on posture and standing, which those are little things that we don't think about. Which that's something that you were sitting a lot, and we kind of slumped over, and I'm kind of thinking about my posture a lot right now during this discussion here. But it's something that the very fundamental things we think we want to get out and kind of run and lift weights and all that stuff, but something as simple as sitting and standing. If we don't get that done right, then if we try to lift weights, we can't. If we're not even sitting straight, then weight's going to break our back or something. So I think those are excellent points. Somebody had a question, Ann. How should a menopausal woman start with weightlifting? Any thoughts? I know that's getting into a very specific point there, but she did ask the question, and there's another question I want to raise. But any comments, pointers for Ann about menopausal women starting weightlifting? I guess any woman starting anybody starting weightlifting.
Depending on her goals. When she says menopausal, that's just another way of just growing. I don't see a difference in it. It does cause, like stress or different assets that happens in your life. But menopause, you shouldn't be worried about too much. Just jump into it. Start with bands first. Using bands would help out a little bit, but just start light weights. Your system is good. You can use some weights. Don't worry. I went through a slight pregnancy where people are like, "Oh, you're pregnant. You shouldn't work out. You shouldn't work out. Your hormones are going this and there," but it helped me. When exercising, it lets off all different kind of things, and it helps you out a lot. So I would advise you to work out during menopause with weightlifting. Just start with bands first and use lighter weights.
So you can work out with slight pregnancies. The full pregnancies. But anyway, Mary, just to follow up on Dr. Atkins' comments, she's saying in India and other countries have holes in the floor, which is good. So maybe you should just get rid of your toilet. That money on the toilet, and just use that hole.
That's a good squat. That's a deep squat.
I didn't know, Jada, if you heard. I was just saying physiologically, we should use our knees more, bend more in the bathroom, and toilets as we get older, people tend to want them higher and higher, but it's more physiological to keep things moving in our colon to have a lower position on more of a squat position. And so in some countries they have more of that than our country.
It's better for elimination for sure. Some people actually get those potty stools where they put their feet up. Squatty potty. So that helps if they can't get up from the toilet, from the hole. You can't get up from the hole.
Can I add something really quickly?
Yes, ma'am.
Some cultures, squatting, it's not necessary. It's a stretch that they do, and it's something that everybody does from very young until very old. We don't do it culturally here, but that is also something that culturally is helpful for the body and probably for circulation. And in talking about posture, I just want to put in a plug for the kids. So a lot of parents come because they feel like their children are slouching because they're reading books, or they're on their phone, or they're on a computer, and so they do slouch. And it's more so a sign of, I tell them, muscle weakness. So put them on a team. That's the easy way of doing it. They don't have to be the best one out there. Put them on the baseball team, the football team, basketball team, or whatever, or dancing. Because I never see my athletes don't come in with that slouch. Because they've developed those muscles, and so the muscles hold them stronger. So, also it's a sign of muscle weakness, and we all do it. But if you are active, then your muscles is not as tiresome, because it becomes it becomes fatiguing to sit up straight when the muscles are weak. But when you're stronger, it's not as tiring to sit up straight.
Yeah, that's a good point. I want you to, in a few minutes, give some insight in terms of what you're seeing with a pediatric. In fact, I'm going to Toss Tease had a question about breathing, and after that, Dr. Palmer, I want you to we've had some conversation about what you're saying with your young kids and how more athletic these kids are these days. But real quick, I want to address this question on breathing, and I'm going to get back to the kids because that's an important issue. And I know we have adults on here, but most people are affiliated with kids. But can you talk to us about breathing? Because that's one thing I remember. Oftentimes when I've been working out for a while and I start back working out, one of the things I lose track of is breathing, proper breathing. And so sometimes, rhythm breathing and all of that stuff. So Toss Tease asking about breath exercises. Can you just talk to us about breathing in general, breath exercises, and also breathing during exercise real quick? Because I think that's an important area that people kind of overlook.
Yes. Well, when breathing, you get people who hold their breath while working out. So it causes your heart to everything's like, no, breathe. You want to be able to breathe through your nose, letting the oxygen in. So you know what happens when you breathe in, you get clean oxygen in. When you blow it out, it's deoxygenated air that comes out of your body. So while you're exercising, you want to get that clean air into your lungs to make sure you have the energy. So the clean air gives you the energy. So on the harder part is when you want to breathe in. And you blow out when you're finishing off the exercise. So saying if I was going into a squat, I would go into my squat, breathing in. And when I'm releasing the squat, I would blow out. So and I wouldn't go too fast. So if I'm going, that's too much breathing. You get people sometimes I'm like, slow down your breathing. Just breathe through your nose and blow out of your mouth. So if you get that aspect of it, it helps out a lot more.
Yeah, I just want to touch base on it because breathing is one of those things we forget about, and breathing and rhythm is good. And we lost Jada for a minute. She's going to go out and come back in. But Dr. Palmer, we've had some conversations in the past about, fitness levels with kids. And before we go to break, can you just comment on what you're seeing in children? I mean, you were talking about broken bones and, kids that can't climb up on the exam table. And, my eyebrows just kind of went through, it went through my exceeding hairline, listening to you make these comments. But can you just kind of reiterate some of that to our audience?
Yeah, but let's start with, so the question that you all had asked earlier is like, how many days a week we should exercise. We know what the books say, but I mean, in the pediatric world, I try not to think about it or phrase it as exercise. It's life. I mean, when we're growing up, we're supposed to be running and jumping and climbing and doing these things. This is part of us using our physical body. And also when we're older, we're supposed to keep doing the same thing. And that's what we're simulating by going to the gym and exercising. We're doing a simulation because we're working and we can't climb trees. We can climb trees, but we don't climb trees anymore. Well, nobody climbs. Actually, the kids don't climb trees anymore either. But these are the things that the human body needs us to do because if you don't use the muscle, then the muscle atrophies and it thinks that you don't need it. So it just wastes, it starts to waste. So in my saying that, children are not spending the time outside, and we've talked about grounding and we've talked about the sun and vitamin D and things like that, but they're not using these muscles. And so what is happening is they're becoming physically weaker. And what I mean by that is I will see a lot of children, they may be outside running, playing by themselves or playing with a friend and trip and fall. And when they come into the clinic, it's a fracture. Now, 10 years ago, when children fall, because children are going to fall because they're outside playing as they should be. 10 years ago, when you trip and fall, it's not a fracture. But today, when they trip and fall, it is a fracture. And like I said, we're not spending the time outside. We're not getting the vitamin D and the other vitamins. The food is a major issue. There are probably some other issues that are happening, but the bones are not as strong as they used to be. So we see a lot of fractures, more so than I think we did 10 years ago. Just small little things, whether it's hairline or whether it's a full a full bone fracture. But, you know, I'm just like, that shouldn't be happening to a 8-year-old, even a 13, 14-year-old who's on the basketball team or the football team. You should not get a fracture because you fell or twisted your ankle, because that is going to happen over and over again. But we're seeing absolutely more of that. You know, I see kids who fall off of the trampoline. Now, some people take pretty bad falls off of the trampoline, but some of them are not that bad, but they will come in with the arm fracture. You know, certain bones are weaker than others. So arms are will fracture and ankles will fracture. And these are weak areas. I'm seeing more Oshka Schleider, and what that happens when the growth plate, when they have irritation at the growth plate and pulling. And so a lot of children experience that discomfort. They're athletes, and so they're out there doing what they're being told to do by their coaches, but their body is just not enforced enough to be able to withstand the pressure that they're putting on their body. So, I mean, that is a full conversation about putting in the body foundationally what it needs to be able to do the things that you want to do with it.
That's you know, that's amazing, because I remember, of course, Tex Houston broke his bone falling out of a tree. I remember falling off trees and bicycles and wrecks, and we played football, base. I got hit in the eye with a baseball, and you know, bats hit. I mean, I've yet, knock on wood, you know, yet to have a bone. But it's one of those things. Jada,
I'm not saying that Tex Houston said he broke as a child falling out of the tree. Yeah, if you're gonna fall from that distance down to the ground, that we would expect a fracture with that.
He didn't say how high the tree was, but anyway.
But I'm talking about falling from a standing position down to the ground. That's what we're talking about. Distance makes a big difference as far as impact in what the result is. But if you're standing up and you fall down, that should not be enough impact to create a fracture.
I agree. Say, falling from standing, yeah, my goodness, yeah, that's amazing. Jada, can you hear us?
I can hear you. My picture's going in and out. I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Okay, we can hear you. Perfect. So, any comments on children? Do you have any kids, clients that you're dealing with? Any of these issues with some of your clients?
Well, I'm a parent of a 22-year-old son, and I just had a new baby. And when raising my son, it was hard for me to get him to stay active. So I got him into a lot of sports, made sure he was playing basketball, baseball, all those things. As soon as he finished college, he quit all of them, and he didn't want to do them. And now he's starting to gain a lot of weight and stuff like that. But I'm saying all that to say, once you get your kids active into something, make sure it's something that they like and something that they enjoy.
Yeah, I think the fun part of it is really key, because if it's entertaining,
once they get up age, they'll stay consistent with it.
Yeah, that's
and
key.
If you're doing activities with your kids that you can do together, that's a plus, because if they see you active, they want.
Yeah, I think that's key. Well, these are great points. Can you hear us, Jada? I don't think you can hear us. I think you can. You may go out, come back in. We had some technical. We can hear you clearly. You may not be able to hear me.
The kids, they getting healthy, and their kids are just eating on the couch, especially with the times that are now. Celeste, I can imagine what you see now, because the kids are not active. They have no muscles. They're not running around as we were back in our times. Right. So guess what? They're on their phone, tearing up their spine, bent over. Okay, they're on the video apps, and they're comparing. It's a total different world now. So I would suggest that parents get active with their kids, meaning go skating with them, go golfing, go to places where you can enjoy yourself with your kids.
I agree 100%. Those are great points. I'm not sure if Jada can hear me, but I just sent her a text. What we're going to do is go to break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask Jada to share.
Are you guys still there?
Yeah, we're here. Check your text. And I'm going to have her share some specific pointers on some specific exercise and videos I'm going to share with everybody. So hold on one second. We're going to go to break. And when we come back, we are going to go into some specific exercises.